Jake, Luke, and I figured it was a genius idea to celebrate the end of finals with a late-night road trip. Yeah, real smart, right? We were burnt out from all the studying, or pretending to study, and thought, why not just hit the road? No real plan, just the three of us in Luke's beat-up car, packed with snacks and drinks, acting like it was some grand adventure. Oh, and let's not forget Jake, who brought this janky, flickering flashlight. I mean, the thing barely worked, but he was dead set on bringing it. The guy has a weird obsession with being prepared. We hit the highway, blasting music, feeling invincible. Halfway through Alabama, though, the GPS on Luke's phone starts freaking out, throwing us in circles with mixed-up directions. Like 1 minute it's telling us to take a right, and the next it says left. Classic technology, always fails when you need it. But Luke, he's an old-school type of guy. While Jake and I are trying to figure out what's wrong with the GPS, Luke goes all back in my day on us, digging out this crusty old paper map from the glove compartment. Seriously, who even carries maps anymore? But there he was, trying to show us how smart he was for not relying on useless tech. The whole thing turned into a stupid argument. Luke's mocking us, acting all superior, and Jake's just rolling his eyes. I'm sitting there thinking, why the hell are we even doing this? But before I can throw in my 2 cents, things get worse. A thick fog creeps in, like something out of a cheap horror movie. The headlights? Useless. They might as well have been flickering like Jake's flashlight. I could barely see the road, and neither could Luke. Then, as if the universe had it out for us, the car sputters and straight up dies. We're stranded on some deserted back road, in the middle of nowhere. Of course, Jake's trying to play Mr. Fix-It, turning the key over and over like that's going to magically revive the thing. Luke? He's freaking out, banging on the dashboard like a caveman. I told them we should get out and check under the hood, but no. Luke refuses, like getting out of the car is some sort of death sentence. Let's just wait for help, he says. Yeah, sure, because help is definitely coming to save our asses out here. After a few minutes of trying and failing to get the car going, we realize there's no cell service. Perfect. Can't even call for help if we wanted to. That's when Jake remembers some mechanic's shop he saw a few miles back. The guy was so confident, like this random memory was going to be our saving grace. He suggests we walk, and at that point, what other choice did we have? So, we start hiking down this creepy fog-filled road, Jake leading the way with his half-dead flashlight, and Luke dragging his feet like a 5-year-old who doesn't want to go to bed. I kept looking around, every sound making me jump. The fog was so thick, it felt like we were walking through soup. My nerves were on edge, and I couldn't shake this feeling that something wasn't right. I didn't trust the fog, the road, the whole situation. After what felt like forever, we stumble across this old, run-down farmhouse. It had these dim, flickering lights in the windows, like somebody was home but barely. Relief washed over us. Finally, some luck, right? We knock on the door, but there's no answer. No voices, no movement. Just silence. But Jake, being Jake, insists we go inside. We can use the phone, he says, all excited, like this place is some kind of 5-star resort. The weirdest thing? The door creaks open on its own, like it was waiting for us. I swear, my stomach dropped right there. But what does Jake do? He walks right in like he owns the place. Luke and I, not so much. We're hanging back, staring at each other like, is this seriously happening? Inside, the house is just as creepy as the outside. Dust everywhere, old furniture like something out of a time capsule. I couldn't shake the feeling that we weren't supposed to be there. The air was heavy, almost suffocating. Jake finds a phone, but of course it's dead. He tries to charge it using the car's battery, but good luck with that. Nothing works out here. And that's when we hear it. Footsteps. Upstairs. Slow. Deliberate. Like someone's pacing, just waiting for us to make a move. A shadow moves across the hallway, and I'm not kidding, I could feel my heart in my throat. Luke's already halfway to full-on panic mode, and I'm right behind him. We make the call to leave, but before we can, the front door slams shut on its own, traps us inside, Luke's trying to force the door open, but it's like the damn thing's glued shut. Meanwhile, Jake, who's been all calm up till now, finds this hidden staircase in the corner. Great. Just what we needed. A creepy staircase to nowhere. There we were, staring at this hidden staircase Jake found, all of us half losing it. The only option was to go up, like we had a choice. Luke's still messing with the front door, like his weak-ass arms were going to magically pry it open. I told him to quit it, but of course he didn't listen. That's Luke for you. We start climbing the stairs, all cautious and quiet, with Jake leading the way, flashlight beam shaking like he's never held one before. I kept thinking, why the hell did we get out of the car in the first place? Dumbest decision ever. Each step creaked like it was screaming at us to turn around, but we just kept going, like idiots. When we finally get to the top, it's just more creepy nonsense. This long-ass hallway with doors slightly open. Each one led to a different room, but none of us wanted to go exploring. And then, like we weren't freaked out enough, a cold breeze came out of nowhere and snuffed out the flashlight. Poof, gone. Complete darkness. Just great. And in the pitch black, things got real. We heard whispers. Not like distant ones either, like they were right there, breathing down our necks. And something kept brushing against us. I swear, I felt something cold run down my arm, but I wasn't about to check what it was. I thought that was it for us, man. Somehow I fumbled with the flashlight, and when I turned it back on, there they were, just standing there. Ghostly figures, staring at us with these blank, dead faces. We freaked. No other word for it. Luke screamed like a little girl, and we bolted downstairs. But of course, because this was our night of absolute hell, the house had rearranged itself. Every door we tried led to a dead end, like the place was screwing with us, on purpose. Jake, genius that he is, suggested we split up to cover more ground. Like this was some horror movie where that always works out. I wasn't having it, and neither was Luke. We weren't about to go wandering off alone. No way. Just as we're trying to figure out what to do next, these ghostly figures, yeah, they didn't leave. In fact, they got more aggressive, like they were done playing games. They started blocking our path, just floating there like they owned the place. That's when it happened. Luke, the big jock who's usually so sure of himself, trips over nothing and falls right into the wall. And then he's just gone. Like, vanished into the wall. 1 second he's there, the next he's disappeared. Me and Jake, we lost it. Full-on panic. We weren't leaving him behind, though. Luke might be an idiot, but he's still our idiot. We followed these eerie sounds, like groaning mixed with creaking wood, down to the basement door. Now, I didn't even want to go near the basement. But what choice did we have? Down we went, the air getting colder with every step. The place smelled like old rot and mold, and the light barely cut through the thick air. In the corner, we found these old photographs and journals. They weren't just random things either. They were about people, disappearances, all tied to this house. Looked like we weren't the first poor suckers to end up here. Then Jake, being nosy as ever, finds this old map. The thing had locations marked all over the area, showing some kind of twisted network. Turns out, this wasn't just one creepy house. It was a trap, part of something bigger, catching clueless travelers like us. Right when we're piecing it together, the basement door slams shut. The temperature drops even more. And then, out of the shadows, this figure steps forward. The ghost. The original owner of the house, or whatever was left of him. You could tell he wasn't here for small talk. Dude wanted revenge. For what? Who knows? But he wasn't going to let us leave without some game of his own. He gives us a riddle, because why not? It's not like we had enough problems already. And yeah, this wasn't some kid's riddle either. The guy made it clear. Solve it, or we're staying here forever. My brain was already scrambled from all the insanity, but we pulled it together, figuring out the answer after what felt like hours. Once we said the solution out loud, the spirits started to fade. Like the whole house sighed or something. It wasn't over yet, though. Jake, still searching every corner, finds this old tunnel behind some junk in the basement. It looked like it hadn't been used in years, but it was our only shot. We crawled through, the tunnel long and damp, our knees scraping on the ground. Finally, we emerged into the fresh air. Dawn had broken, and the farmhouse? Gone. Like it had never been there in the first place, just an empty field behind us, as if the whole thing was a nightmare. We made it back to the car, still shaken, but we couldn't just sit there. We drove to the next town, hoping for some normalcy, but when we asked about the farmhouse, no one had ever heard of it. No records, no stories. Nothing. Like it never existed. And there we were, stuck questioning if any of it was real. Story 2. So it all started with Derek, Charlie, and me sitting around bored out of our minds. Nothing happening, the same old routine every damn day. Then out of nowhere, Derek's like, "Let's hit the road, screw it." And before I could even process what the hell was going on, we're loading up Charlie's rusty old junker of a car. Charlie swears he's a mechanic, always tinkering with the thing, but honestly, the dude can't even fix a sandwich right, let alone an engine. But whatever, I figured it'd be a break from the monotony. We packed light, just the basics. Didn't really think it through. Snacks, water, some tools. I remember tossing in a baseball bat. I don't even play baseball, but something told me to bring it. Maybe it was the way the day felt off, or maybe I've watched too many bad horror flicks. Anyway, we're driving down this deserted highway, like literally no other cars, no signs, just this long, endless stretch of nothing. And that's when we spot him. A hitchhiker. Now, any sane person would drive past, right? But Derek? Nah, he's got this good guy complex, so he pulls over, and this guy, Sam, jumps in. At first, Sam seemed all right. Kinda quiet, but charismatic in a weird, shady way. He starts talking about all these secret spots we should check out, places off the beaten path, away from the main roads. Right off the bat, I'm suspicious. Who even talks like that? But of course, Charlie's eating it up. And Derek? He's nodding along like Sam's some sort of spiritual guide or something. Meanwhile, I'm just staring at Sam, trying to figure him out. Dude's got a vibe, you know? Not the good kind. A few hours in, Sam's stories start getting weirder. He's going on about this abandoned town nearby, talking like it's some hidden gem. The whole thing doesn't sit right with me. But Derek and Charlie just keep pushing forward like we're on some grand adventure. Me? I'm sweating bullets in the back seat, watching the trees close in and the road get sketchier by the mile. Then the arguments start. Derek's all about sticking to the main roads, 'cause duh, he's actually sane sometimes. But Charlie? Nah, Charlie thinks he's an explorer or something. Says we should trust Sam and take some back roads that don't even show up on GPS. I'm yelling from the back, trying to get them to stop acting like morons, but no one's listening. Typical. Not long after, we lose all phone signal. Like, nothing. GPS, dead. We're officially in the middle of nowhere with zero sense of direction. I'm freaking out, but Derek? He's still trying to act like this is all under control. Like this was part of the plan. I don't trust any of them. It's like I'm the only one seeing the cracks in this whole setup. Then we see it. The gas station. If you could even call it that. Place looks like it hasn't seen a customer since the 90s. Broken windows, dust everywhere. One busted up pump still barely standing. But we're running on fumes, so it's either stop here or get stranded on the side of the road. Honestly, both options seemed equally bad. Derek goes inside to pay while Charlie and I hang back by the car. That's when we see Victor. This dude's the textbook definition of creepy. Greasy hair, hollow eyes, wearing a dirty apron like he's some gas station butcher or something. I swear I could feel my skin crawl just looking at him. And then he says it, straight-faced, no hesitation. "You're not getting out of here alive." I laugh, but not because it's funny. Derek, though. He's that dumb jock type who can't take anything seriously. He laughs right in Victor's face, cracks some insult about small-town freaks or whatever, and just brushes it off. Meanwhile, Charlie's all business, says we need to fill up and go, like nothing's wrong. I'm like, "Bro, did you hear him?" We start fueling up, and that's when the lights flicker. Not just a little, like violently. The whole station's buzzing, flickering on and off like something out of a bad horror movie. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I catch this shadow moving in the back room. No way it's Victor. He's still staring at us from the counter. It's someone else, or something else. Finally, we're done, and we jump back in the car, ready to peel out of there. But as soon as Derek turns the key, nothing. Not even a click. The engine's dead. And that's when it hits me. We're stuck here. Trapped. So there we were. Trapped in the car, the engine dead, and my heart pounding so hard I could barely think straight. Derek's just sitting there, staring at the dashboard like an idiot, while Charlie's cursing under his breath. And me? I'm trying to figure out what the hell went wrong. I should have known from the start that Sam wasn't right. He just sat there quiet, like he was enjoying the whole damn mess. Then I see Victor. This dude wasn't just creepy. He was straight up terrifying now. He starts walking toward us, slow but steady, holding something in his hand. I couldn't make out what it was at first, but it sure as hell wasn't anything good. My gut was screaming at me that this guy wasn't playing around. Charlie loses it, starts yelling at Derek to do something, like we aren't all in the same sinking boat. He's freaking out, making everything worse. Derek, the big tough guy, just freezes like a deer in headlights. That's the thing about jocks like him. They act all macho until shit hits the fan, then they're useless. Meanwhile, I'm in the back seat, frantically trying to restart the car, but it's dead. I could feel the seconds slipping away, each one heavier than the last. Victor was getting closer, and I knew we were screwed. Then, out of nowhere, Sam pulls something out of his pocket, a badge. I'm thinking, what the hell? Turns out, he's some undercover cop, been investigating Victor for months. He's talking fast now, explaining that Victor's involved in some illegal operation, smuggling, drugs, or whatever. Like, dude, this is a hell of a time to reveal that, don't you think? And the worst part? Sam says we're in deeper than we thought. Like way deeper. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, I hear the rumble of motorcycles. I look up and see this group of bikers rolling in like something out of a bad movie. Leading the pack is Hank, this massive dude covered in tattoos. He's got this look in his eyes like he's ready to tear someone apart, and I don't doubt for a second he's done it before. Turns out Hank's got beef with Victor, and now we're smack in the middle of it. Hank and his crew pull up, and suddenly it's a standoff. Victor's glaring at Hank, Hank's staring down Victor, and we're stuck in the middle like a bunch of clueless idiots. Threats are flying, and I swear, I thought we were dead right there. The tension was thick enough to choke on. But then, out of nowhere, Charlie, freaking Charlie, gets this look on his face, like the dude actually remembers how to be useful. Turns out he's not all talk about being a mechanic. Under all that panic, he actually knows how to fix an engine. So while Hank and Victor are sizing each other up, Charlie pops the hood and starts working on the car. I didn't believe it at first, but sure enough, he gets the engine to sputter back to life. Just when I think we're about to get out of there, Sam, Mr. Undercover Cop, turns on us. That's right, he sides with Hank. I guess the secrets Victor was hiding were more valuable to him than we were. Sam, the guy we picked up on the side of the road, sold us out in a heartbeat. I wanted to punch him right there, but we didn't have time. We had to move. The second the car's running again, we sprint to it. Bikers are everywhere, and Victor's guys are closing in. It's chaos. Everyone's yelling, fists flying, and we're just dodging through it all. I can't believe we actually made it to the car in one piece. Derek floors it, and we peel out of there, tires screeching. The bikers jump on their bikes and start chasing us, and now it's a high-speed race down those same desolate roads we shouldn't have been on in the first place. Dust flying, engines roaring, and I swear I've never been more scared in my life. And then, out of nowhere, Lisa shows up. Yeah, our friend Lisa. She'd been tracking us the whole time, making sure we didn't get ourselves killed, which is funny because we almost did. She pulls up in this big SUV with some guys she brought along, and they're armed, like really armed. Hank and his gang didn't stand a chance. Turns out Lisa was in on it from the beginning. She was working with Victor to protect some hidden community or something from Hank's exploitation. It's all super twisted. And Sam? He was a double agent, playing both sides the whole time. I felt like we'd walked into some movie plot, but this was real life. We weren't just on some dumb road trip. We'd stumbled into a war we didn't even know existed. By the end of it all, I was done. Mentally fried, confused, angry, and more paranoid than ever. We made it out, sure, but nothing made sense anymore. The whole thing left us questioning everything.